if there is a moment where you need to ask anything, please either, if you're going to mute yourself, unmute yourself and start asking away. I don't mind. So right now what we're going to do is my version of the 6 thinking hats, or you can call it just the thinking hats. Just let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so this is based on Edward de Bono's theory of problem solving. The main purpose of this activity is not just get you out of the box, but shake it really good. And that way you see everything from so many different angles. So in a nutshell, this is a problem solving session or activity, if you want to call it that way. Before I get a move on, does anyone have a question or anything? We're good to go? Perfect. So as if it were a regular session, the objectives of today are to be able to analyze situations from the 6 different points of view, to resolve problem taking into consideration 6 different perspectives, and involve different thinking styles to improve team decisions. And there's one thing about problem solving. I'll stop right here. As leaders, we're taught, that we should be ready to solve everything. We are the fixers, we control the fire, we control everything. No harm shall come to my team. This, I took it from a John Maxwell training, and he says there are 3 kinds of leader. Those that see the problem coming and take care of it before it hits. So they have the capability of foreseeing anything that happens. Those that don't see it coming, but they handle it well. And those that just got knocked over and didn't know even what happened. I'm like, huh? So the last thing you need is to be the last kind of leader and focus on the first 2. Either your experience and the way you can read the signals around you let you know what's going to happen. Or, you know what, once it hits, how are we going to resolve it? And before we advance, let me give you a real life example we faced last year. And with last year, I'm going to say last program year. In January, when everything was peaceful, as I shall quote, I had my CGDs with me. And we were talking about how we were going to get ready for the upcoming renewal season. We really didn't know what was going to happen in the world. We just knew that TI always gives us around 2 months per renewal period. So we were talking in advance, and we were saying, all right, as soon as we get home and that portal opens, we are going to go like crazy, reminding everyone to renew as soon as possible. And we even set an ambitious goal, even though the team kind of looked at me like, are you sure? I asked them to shoot for 50% in the first month. Asking a whole district to be paid at 50% during February, that's out of my mind, because everybody's used to paying last minute before the end of March. So this was going to include also a mindset change and even a cultural change. In Mexico, we wait until the very last moment. And if you can get a time extension, even better. So we were running along February, you know, we started beating our drums really happily, and then it happened. When the borders started closing and the situation and the, you know, everything started rising, when I looked at our numbers, our region was very far ahead in the renewals. We did make it to that 50%. We were actually at 49% by the end of February. But the hit was not as dangerous or as hazardous to the districts had we waited until March. And we were doing it, you know, just to get started. We weren't seeing all the pandemic coming over. We were just trying to do some thoughtful planning and not get there to the last minute. So we saw at least planning ahead as a good option for us. And when the problem came along to us, we were like, we already had a plan in motion. Let's continue working our plan. So I'm still really proud of what we accomplished, but it takes a lot of determination and a lot of convincing to bring your team along, because there were members of the team that weren't really into the idea of, why in February? Let's wait. There were other districts that simply got knocked over. They weren't waiting for this to happen. Nobody was waiting for this to happen, but they weren't expecting it. And that is why there was one of the resolutions TI offered was to give an extension to the renewals because of everything that was going on. There were too many districts that did not plan ahead. So I say kudos for us for being able to plan ahead. So trouble happens. And when we're offered a leadership position, everybody will probably tell us it's perfect. You're gonna have a great time as club president. You're gonna be amazing as an area director, as division director. This is your kingdom, and long may you reign just for a year. Or when you're district director, same thing, but your territory is a bit larger. You don't expect to lose members. You don't expect to have members have differences among themselves. You don't expect members not to like the education program. You don't expect members to be shy and not promote the benefits of our organization. So eventually, down the line, a problem will arise. But for each problem, there has to be a solution. Sometimes we have to bring it underneath a rock. Sometimes it's just looking at us straight in the eye. So if we talk about Edward de Bono's theory, he suggests 6 different perspectives or points of view in the decision-making process or in the problem-solving process. The white hat is the one that's focused on facts and data. And you might recognize, or a couple of people that come to your mind, they're always talking about numbers, they're always talking about statistics, and they always say, this is the trend that we've had because of the last numbers, blah, blah. That is your go-to person for numbers. Intuition. You have a red hat in your group when someone says, I just have a gut feeling about this. This doesn't feel right. I'm not comfortable. It's not the right vibe. Those people trust their gut more than logic or facts and data and numbers. Every group has their own Eeyore. Like, we need to poop. And he was sad and he was gloomy. But you know what that was wonderful about Eeyore? He had such amazing friends that never left him alone. They always brought him along for amazing adventures. And he was always grateful. And we always have that person that says, oh yeah, but it's not gonna work. I like your plan, Kathy. It's still not gonna work. Well, thank you for liking it though. At least you like it. We have the other side of the negative person. We have that person that is your sunshine and rainbow, and he is happy, or she sees the good in everyone. You've seen everything that person has done to you and you still have faith in them? Yes, they do. Because they always find the good in something, whether it's in the person or in the situation. There is something positive. You have a creative person in your group as well. Someone that will not only just go out of the box that we've been told we're in, but also bring out the crazy ideas and say, this has never been done before. Why don't we try this approach? And maybe it's someone that crafts their own jewelry or always has something custom made, because whatever they sell in the store is not good for them. And they would probably have a very good Pinterest board, and they are fans of Etsy. And then you have the process people. The blue hat is very well on when this person is telling you, but you know what? This is A, B, C, D. We can't jump a step. We have to go exactly the way it's in the book. I just saw kids like, oh dear. So they're the goods for the good people to replicate or implement a process, because they will follow everything step by step. And those were our people when we were implementing pathways that helped us, follow step by step. And they were the best ones to walk our members through base camp, because they wouldn't skip a step. They would take them exactly through the flow. Their ideas are mostly organized. And these people, the blue hats, they are the best mediators that you will have in your group because they won't take sides. They just want to go through the process. Or maybe if it's a Toastmaster, you might find them in a parliamentarian role. And probably their favorite words out of their mouth are, per policy, this should be done or this should not be done. So these are the 6 kinds of points of view or people that we have. And my question to you would be, so which hat do you identify yourself with? And this is your moment to open your mics and share.
I would say that I'm mostly the positive hat, but a lot of times the process hat.
Okay. Kathy, do you identify with?
I'm a numbers person, but I'm also intuitive and creative.
Okay. So you wear 3 hats. Okay. Did we lose Tom? I think we lost Tom.
I'll watch for him. There, he's coming back.
He's back.
Yep.
Hey, Tom.
Hi.
So which hat do you identify with?
Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
I'm just identify with. One of them is the positive, and one of them is the creative. I like just, be thinking outside the box and being my own self and sharing and going crazy. So I say positive and creative.
Okay. Sounds wonderful. I think somebody else joined the fun.
Lamont joined us.
Perfect. Lamont, so we're going through the 6 basic processes or the 6 ways we can resolve a problem based on Edward de Bono's theory. And we were talking about how people react to problems, whether they're objective and focus on numbers, and they would be the white hat, intuition, the gut feeling, and they are the red hats. The negative ones, they are gloom and doom. Nothing's going to turn out right. Black hat. Sunshine and rainbows, of course, the yellow hat. The creative ones are the green hat, and those focused to process, procedure, protocol are the blue hat. And we were just sharing which were the hats that we identify with, or if there's a hat that we identify the most.
So which hat are you, Lamont?
Maybe he's taking it still in. It's a lot of info just for a few minutes to be here. So usually I identify with the green hat, even though the white and red hat are my favorite hats to wear. And I don't use the expression I think, I use the expression I feel. And we confirmed that when we did my Myers-Briggs assessment. I'm a feeler. But also with a lot of things, I follow the process because there is a reason why somebody took the time to write step by step what we have to do. But eventually, my green hat, takes over and says, there has to be another way. We cannot bump into the door. So Lamont, have you thought about it? Which ones do you identify with?
I wonder if he knows that he's still on mute.
I don't know that because he turned off his camera and I'm not seeing him anymore. Well, if he wants to share later on, he can share with us.
He's with USAA, and I don't know if he's got problems with his internet, but he's turned off the camera before, so I'll chat with him.
Perfect. Thank you, Kathy. So up to here, as a trainer, if I see the group that is a bit confused and they need a little further explanation on which of the hats, I will go through and explaining more about the hats. And especially here is where I focus. Why do we use the hats, or how do we use the hats? When we have openly identified with a color in particular, you as a trainer or I as a trainer can challenge you. And for example, if Kathy has recognized that she is a white hat and a green hat, I might want her to wear the blue hat because that will take Kathy outside her comfort zone. and I will force her to think differently. And this is your real objective. Make them think different. Because if you have a lot of people that have this, they try to resolve this problem the same way. Someone said insanity was trying to resolve the problem doing the same thing over and over. So get them out of that insanity cycle and bring the hats in. And the perfect moment where you as a leader should bring them in, it's like the example Tom was giving us. He wants to take his club to the next step. So the first thing that he could do is, based on how he knows his officers, he could first to himself say, okay, my president is a blue hat, my VPE is a green hat, but my VPM is a black hat. So if it's a membership related issue, he might be gloomy about this, and we need to bring him to the other side. And maybe you won't want to be too drastic and say, all right, I'm going to make you positive. No. Maybe give him facts and data. Maybe push him to be a little bit creative. And if you notice, the hats are exactly opposite to each other. So it's interesting that I'm something that's not normal. I identify with being very objective, but I go by my gut. That's, how can you identify two skills? Well, yes, you can. So do that with your team. Now, this is what I do. In a regular room, I break them out into groups of 6. So you break them out in group of 6. Kathy had shown me the registration, and it was either 12 or 2, and we had talked about this. And we knew what we could do. If I had the 12 here, aside of Kathy and myself, we would have made 2 breakout rooms and have them take the scenarios with them, which is what I'm going to show you right now. But before I sent them over to the breakout room, we would have the conversation here and talk about what hat you identify with. When we were doing this activity in person, I think the most I cut was 150 color cards. And what we would do was, when they were seated in tables or seated in an auditorium, and we would just start giving them cards, and the cards were the colors of the hats. So we would force you through the card to use that thinking mindset. And maybe Kathy got the blue card, Melissa got the green card, and Tom got the yellow card. And probably someone will say, but I identify with the white hat. That's amazing. But for this activity, I want you to focus on the card that you have right now. And I do have the template for the cards, Kathy, so if you need them later for anything, I can give them to you. But since we're running on a virtual environment, what I would do, I would give you the opposite of what you currently identify with. Does that make sense? Okay. Usually, I only show 2 scenarios because I want that conversation going. I want them to think. This weekend, I had my team in training, and the first thing they would complain when I would bring them back from the breakout room was, but that wasn't enough time. And one of the activities, I had sent them out in 30 minutes. I mean, they wanted more than 30 minutes for that. So I really don't know if they were chatting or if they were working on it. Is somebody else here?
All right, bye.
So here it would be.
Adrian Huddleston is joining.
Hey, Adrian.
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing good. Welcome to the madness.
Yeah, it took me a while. Sorry about that.
But you're here, and that's what matters.
Yeah, there you go.
So I would focus only on 2 scenarios because you want to give them that opportunity to crank that creativity. So for scenario number 1, I would give them, I think I gave them 15 minutes. And it's a really limited amount of time because you have 6 people for 15 minutes only. They get about a minute ahead or 2 minutes at most. They really take advantage of the time. So nobody told me about the scenario, Tom. Your goal this year is to be distinguished or better. Despite any challenges, we're not talking about any past scenario or baggage. Right now, we're thinking you want to be distinguished. And your challenge is the pathway changes to DCP, and your club's adoption rate. So the person that might be really in tune with this situation is your VPE, because your VPE knows by heart how many members are enrolled to Pathways. So this is where it gets good. You pick the blue hat. If we remained in virtual, I would pick the blue hat and then let the blue hat do everything. And the blue hat is the moderator, because they're focused on the process. And of course, because the blue hat is the moderator, the blue hat also gets the opportunity to be the spokesperson, unless someone else steps up. But that is up to the team. That is not up to you as the facilitator. So we take turns around the table usually, or this is the ideal, where Kathy will be wearing Kathy would be the blue hat, because that's the opposite of her nature. So Kathy would be moderating.
Black hat. I do process work for my job at Medtronic.
That's right. And I always see you as more creative. That's your dual nature. So imagine someone like Kathy, who always says that it's possible and it can be done. Her brainstorm ideas are going to be negative. And your job as the blue hat is to, Kathy, we were talking about negative. So you have to keep them focused on the hat that they are currently wearing and remind them that they probably have a minute or 90 seconds to share their idea. So when we come out of the breakout room, the first question that you as a facilitator ask is, were you able to find a way to resolve your problem? That's the very first question you ask. The second question is, how do you feel? And this is where you need to make them aware of how they felt thinking in a way that is not natural to themselves. Because if you're usually happy, optimistic, positive, and looking at the bright side of things, and then we forced you to think negative, whoa, how does that make you feel? And use those words. How does that make you feel? Don't be scared of using them. So you let them talk about how they felt, of the challenge it meant for them to be there. And then, of course, some of them will have their own aha moment and say, now I understand why members of my team think that way. Why for them this is too natural, but to me it's completely complicated. So one of the biggest takeaways of this activity is increase empathy within the team. That is one of your biggest takeaways, because you make them wear shoes they are not comfortable with. And as leaders, we have to understand the others. So you can phrase it and let them know how their aha should be, but that is the aha. Increase empathy. Aside of gaining a different perspective from everything. Because imagine if your team is made up of all red hats. Who's going to take care of the numbers? Nobody focuses on the number because everybody's a feeler. Or imagine if you only have numbers people and they're just barking out orders. Who's going to take care of the members' hearts? So those are also very important moments where you have to identify that just because this works for you and you're comfortable like this, it doesn't mean that the rest of your team is. So it's also another activity to help the team bond, to help the team understand each other and set goals respecting each other. So there are other aha moments in this. The second scenario, I like to take it to membership. And I think out of all the scenarios that we can come up with, our two core issues are the education program and membership. Because you know what? Public relations helps in membership. Having good advertising is membership. Knowing DCP, it's education. Pathways is education. Liking the program is education. So there are really just two scenarios, unless of course you say, you know what? You as a trainer, or maybe Kathy as program quality director, these are 3 different things that I want to tackle. And you can make it into your specific scenario. But if you revolve around those 2, you would have a pretty good session. This is something I've seen happen. And I've seen clubs, I really have a lot of questions about that, but I don't understand how us being in a virtual environment, I still see club meetings that look like the Brady Bunch. You only have 9 people there. I still don't get it. All they need is just to click and want to be there. At least that's how I feel. Because we don't have to commute. I've seen members in their PJs attend their meetings, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're comfortable. But right now, all of our meetings should be packed. Maybe not 5 screens of people, but at least you should be able to get a good 15 people, 20 people. Because all our members have to do is just click and be there. So when we go to this extreme, and when we have members doing 2 roles to make the meeting successful, the 6 hats need to come in. And let's look at all of our perspectives and how can we improve or stop having 2 people, well, 1 person do 2 roles. And I've seen Toastmasters be topic masters and general evaluators evaluate a speech. I've even seen the timer do something. And you know that when we talk about club quality, this is not the example of club quality. So as you can see, the scenarios can be focused to specific tasks that you want to work with, whether you're an area director, division director, or you're in higher leadership like Kathy, that she says, I want to focus and get my division directors and the complete deck thinking. Or you can narrow it down just to club specific situations. And same thing again, you're 7 officers. So everyone can wear the hat and the other one can be just taking notes for everyone. And maybe you'll be lucky, somebody will get their own hat. And maybe you'll have most in their uncomfortable zone, where when you're uncomfortable, that's because you're growing. And you have to also remind them that during the training session. Did you feel uncomfortable? Yes, that's because you were thinking something new. Those fresh ideas were coming to your mind and you were getting there. So I didn't force you to go to old patterns or maybe automatic thoughts. You had to put, the weight in. So what do you think? Talk to me. Talk to me as trainers. Talk to me as participants. Questions, doubts. I'm all ears.
Let's go through it so we can see how it works.
How many people do we have here?
So Aggie just joined us from Aim High in Austin.
Ooh.
And Aggie does not need officer credit, but wanted to listen in. So that's cool. So we have 1, 2 with you. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So it's 6 of us.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to the hats.
I don't know if Adrian and Aggie need, and I don't know, Lamont, how much you heard, but what the hats represent.
Yes, I was able to hear a little bit of it.
Yeah, I don't know
having some
anything
technical.
about that.
And Aggie just got here. So just like a quick rundown of what the hats are.
So we'll refer to them as hats, as the way Edward de Bono would refer to them. But actually it's the 6 thinking styles. The objective, or the white hat, is facts and data. The person that works with the numbers. And they'll always be telling you, this is our statistic, this is our trend, this is where we're going. The intuition are your feelers. And they will always use words like, I have a gut feeling, I feel. They won't go to thinking, they will go to feeling. The negative, the gloom and doom. If that person reminds you of Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, because they're all gloomy and sad, that's your negative person. Or they will always say, like, why can't you look at the bright side of things? If you have ever said that to someone and it's constant, that's your negative person, or the person that is always thinking negatively. Then there's a complete opposite, the sunshine and rainbows, your positive person. It can be the darkest day on earth and they will still find the bright side. There will still be something to look forward to for the next day. And I remember, and this is true, I was in an ultimate black hat mode. June 26th, 2015, Dan Rex had called me to let me know that our district election had been overturned because of politics. I was a candidate again. I was not a division director anymore. There was a possibility I could be elected for the trio, which in a regular set, I would be really excited about. But the problem was that the next day I had my division training. So I was going, we do traditionally officer induction at TLI. At the end, when everyone's already trained and everyone's already hyped, the division director inducts everyone to their office. So in my mind, I was thinking, I'm not going to be able to tell my people I'm their division director. I'm probably not going to lead them next year. How am I going to face them tomorrow? And Dan, who was at that moment, fortunately, wearing the yellow hat, Dan said that at the darkest moment is when you are closest to the light. And that made my evening, and that's made a lot of moments that I've had afterwards. And yes, I was elected PQD. So I did have to leave my division. But that evening, or that day at training, I had to tell who was going to be my predecessor, I can't install them. I'm not their director. Where were we going? We have the creative hat. The creative hat is the person that thinks outside the box, always. There's always a way to do something different. There's always a way to do something new. And then there's your process person, the one that will follow everything like if it were a recipe. You have to do A, B, C, D. These are your people that quote policy and protocol if you're in Toastmasters, or they're the ones that love the governing documents. So did that run through of the hats help?
That's perfect. I know which one I am already. Thank you.
Perfect. And here is the scenario. Kathy, can you do the honors of labeling the hats or giving us hats? Kathy, you're on mute. There you go.
I don't know what the last three people that came in. Tom, did you tell us what you identified with? You said, can we look at them again?
Sure.
I was creative.
So we're gonna make you the white hat. So you're the numbers guy. And I am going to be the process one, even though that's kind of my job, but it's not fun to me, really. Melissa, you're gonna be the black hat. You're negative. And Adrian, I'm thinking you're kind of a process person, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that would be aligned better for me.
So can we make you the creative one? You're the super creative guy?
The green hat.
The green
Well,
hat for this experience.
Okay, for this, I'll say yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's to get you out of your comfort zone.
Sure.
And
We're missing the red hat and the yellow hat.
Tom, tell me again what you said you were?
I was creative. You gave me objective.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
Tom has the white hat.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so Lamont, you gonna be Mr. Intuition, okay?
Right.
And that leaves the last hat. Is it process?
No, it's positive.
The positive hat, that's you, Aggie. I don't know how positive you are.
I will be tonight. Got it.
That's
So
what we need.
what did you pick before? What do you identify with?
In a normal
Process and
circumstance.
negative.
And under normal circumstances, what do you identify with?
Probably process.
Cool. So you get to be Miss Sunshine and Roses.
Oh my God. So which scenario would fit the needs for District 55 right now, Kathy? This one or the membership? Where do you want to
I
go?
think it's a toss-up, but probably more people are worried about membership, aren't they?
Membership.
Can
Yeah.
we vote? Who wants to do the
Mhm.
membership one?
I
Do
see
the
one
rest of you
hand.
want Pathways adoption?
I'm a
I
little
see-
confused. What are we doing right now?
Let's do, so we have two different scenarios we can work through as a team, either Pathways adoption or membership building.
I think
And we
membership
actually-
building,
I would say pathways for me because that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
I'm struggling with right now.
yeah,
Okay.
and
I
I
mean-
think membership building is probably the biggest challenge right now.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, well, it can be either or. So yeah, it depends.
Yeah, really, either you pick, Violetta.
I think everybody's going for membership. Not my favorite topic, but let's talk about membership. And you know what? Here's the catch. As trainers, and this is the biggest challenge as well, it's not about what I like. It's what the team needs. And if this activity will help the team go out there or go back to their clubs with a fresh idea or a different mindset, that is your standard of success. Because if you talk about something that you like and that you're comfortable with, we go back to the same scenario. Everything's happy, sunshine and rainbows, and you are good. But it's not about us as trainers. It's about them, our audience. So Miss Blue Hat, you will be the moderator for this activity because it's the Blue Hat who determines the order of participation. This is your scenario as a club. There has been low attendance during the last month and members have been performing 2 roles. You have, how long should we give them, Kathy? 2 minutes?
Well, it's 35 minutes into the program now, so we've got 25 minutes left total. Well, actually,
So it's
we've
6
got
sets, it's
15
12
minutes left. We're supposed to stop at 8.
Okay, so let's, as quick as you can, if you can do it under a minute, it would be wonderful, but like pushing it, you have 90 seconds. So using your hat, and let me remind you, Tom, you are the white hat. Kathy will be the blue, and that's why she's the moderator. Melissa, you are the black hat. Adrian, you're the green hat. Lamont, you are the red hat. And Aggie, you are the yellow hat. Focus on that mindset. I will actually go back to the image of the hats. That way you can remember which is which.
I have a
Kathy-
question for you, Violetta. So
Sure.
I know objective was the white one was the numbers, right?
Right.
Numbers.
Red was what? I guess I
Heart.
didn't get that.
Heart.
The heart. Okay.
Intuition.
Heart.
How you feel.
Okay. Feeling. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Kathy,
And
you are
Lamont
the
was
blue.
red. Lamont was red, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
So Kathy, you're the moderator. You decide who gets to speak
I
first.
actually like that order that you listed them in, so that's what I'm going to go with. So Tom as our numbers guy. What
So
do you?
I'm going to put it in
Okay.
the chat.
What I've been seeing over the past couple of months is I've been seeing the membership in the club diminishing. And what's representing this is I see more and more of ourselves taking on dual roles. I'm not sure why the numbers are falling, but it's definitely a trend. And we need to come up with ways to make those numbers stop and to begin to increase the membership. And I'm throwing it out to the group. What can we do to increase the members, the number of members that are joining our club so we could stop having dual roles? It's just it's disrupting the meeting. You know, I was the timer the other day, and I was also an evaluator. Impossible to do. Impossible to do well. So I think we need to do as a team is figure out ways to get people to come to our meetings and getting people to join our club.
Okay, how about our black hat, Melissa?
Yes, thank you, Tom. Well, I personally feel like we have tried. I email people at least once or twice a month and basically beg them to come. I feel like our VP of PR is doing a great job of putting all the information out there and still nothing. I don't know if people just want to meet in person or they just don't like Zoom, but I just feel like we're exhausting our options and we're not getting anywhere. And I just don't know what possibly else we can do to make this happen.
And Adrian, what do you think about the situation?
Well, it's a very good point, because today when we had our meeting, I served as the Toastmaster, the Humor Master, one of the table topics respondents. But here's the thing. You have to do what you have with the people that you have, because you don't want to just say, you know, we're not going to have a meeting today, because that doesn't help anyone else. They need to all be able to enjoy the experience of being at the meeting and growing as a communicator and leader. And they can't do that if they're not there. Now, one of the things I would think that we could probably look at doing is to not just have one person call everyone, but split up the membership roster and make it where it's a little bit mixed up. In other words, don't be that same person who calls the other individual, another member all the time. Let someone else call that member and hear a different voice and hear that different excitement, and let them know that, hey, this meeting will go much better with more people here. We have a better meeting, we have a more enjoyable meeting, and we don't feel that we are wearing so many hats.
Okay. And how about you, Lamont?
Well, my club is a little different. I'm part of a corporate club. So actually our numbers have been increasing a lot since.
Okay,
we've
but
been-
that's not what this project is. This
Oh.
project is to pretend like you are a member of this team and
Oh.
you are the intuitive guy. You're thinking like an intuitive. So what intuitions do you have about this hypothetical club situation?
Okay, sorry about that. For this situation, I guess am I speaking from my experience or just making something up?
Just how you feel. If you're a feeler, how you feel. Why is this happening? Why has your club fallen into a situation where some of your members are doing two roles at the same time?
It's play acting, and you
Okay,
are an intuitive.
I know from prior experience, a lot of ours has been just our club wasn't organized and wasn't prepared at the time of the meeting. So sometime, or I guess attendance was not, I guess, trying to think of a scenario. Sorry.
That's good.
I know in the past, we used to have before, the virtual situation. We used to have situations where we used to only have like maybe 4 or 5 people show up, and I was like maybe 5 or 6 different roles, from Toastmaster today to evaluator to, speaker to almost, everything that was going on. And a lot of that was that, we wasn't advertising the club as much as we could have been doing. So.
Okay. And Aggie, you're our everything's positive person.
Hey guys, don't stress. It's going to be great.
Good job.
Yeah.
Well, I've got more, but I had to start positive because super positive people are always really happy.
Oh yeah.
What I would say is that, okay, first of all, if our meeting attendance is low, one advantage to that is that members who are performing multiple roles become more versatile and adaptable. So if you're doing general evaluator and table topics master and Toastmaster and all of that stuff at the same meeting, you're actually learning all of those roles and really advancing your skills as a Toastmaster to the point where things don't phase you anymore if that ever have to do that. But what I would say about the membership, you're right. We have been struggling with low attendance during the last month. What I would suggest is rather than dwell on the fact that our membership is low and that our attendance is low, is let's focus on what we can do to spin that. Let's focus on positive steps that we can do. So maybe we can have an open house. Maybe we can have a membership drive. There's lots of stuff that we can do. So let's let this frustration actually spur us to action. And I think that will help us solve the problem.
See, there's a reason why I wanted you to go at the end. Great job.
I tried.
Back to you, Violetta.
No. That wasn't a try. That was amazing. And actually, this is usually the right order because you want to end on the high note. You want to start with facts and data.
That was my intuition telling me.
Aha. And then you want to bring, after the facts, let's get gloomy. And then let's start bringing in the others. And then we start the heart. And then after we feel, we know how we're feeling, we go for the optimism, the sunshine, and rainbows. Because if you end with the black hat, everybody's going to come out depressed from that room. So this is the moment where like, okay, time's up. Everyone's good. The first question is either how did it go? Were you able to resolve? Or my favorite, how did you feel? And that's where, and everyone in the group has an opportunity to share how they felt. And Lamont, I don't want to place you on the spot, but if I were in there as a spy, I could feel that Lamont's nature is not a feeler. He would probably say, I was uncomfortable. And that is the purpose of the activity. Make them uncomfortable in a safe environment because we're still together, we're still Toastmasters, we honor our core values, but we want them to think outside what they normally do. So first of all, you give them a minute or two, or you have your people that you can ask, how do you feel? If we're doing virtual, let everyone chat it out. And everybody's probably gonna be chatting. Like, I'm frustrated, I felt good, it was different, I struggled. And then probably you'll have a spokesperson, or as I had suggested, pick the blue hat and say, Kathy, were you able to resolve the issue? Or did you have a good brainstorm? And give each one of your team leaders that opportunity to share that, yes, we had a good brainstorm. Or no, we really dwelled on the hat.
I think if we had had a little bit more time, Aggie would have talked us into doing it some kind of like open house or something, and we would have gotten it solved.
So having the last final, go again. I'm sorry.
I'm not the most positive person, so I was definitely play acting there. Thanks.
Well, that was amazing play acting. And if
You're a natural.
If you're an area director right now, you will probably need to do that when your clubs are feeling gloomy. And you can add that label to your hat. This club is gloomy. This club is, objective, happy. This one, they go by the book. They do everything by the book. This one's spontaneous and they're creative. But you as an AD, you have to keep them all happy and positive. And hey, you guys are going to make it to distinguished. So whatever you did a couple of minutes ago, keep it under your sleeve. You might need it during the year. And thank you for that. Questions?
We got 3 minutes left before we have to go to the next class. Does anybody have anything they want to share with our trainer tonight? Go, Adrian.
Yeah, I think, and this is real world what's happening right now with a lot of clubs is that they are going to so many Zoom meetings at work that they're just burnt out. And so it's hard to get them convinced that, hey, this is not just another Zoom meeting.
Yep.
This is a meeting, a regular Toastmaster meeting with all your Toastmaster friends who are gathering as if we were gathering physically, but yet we're still be able to have a meeting and be able to do all the parts of the meeting, learning as we go. But I think that's the biggest challenge right now is because like today I talked to one of my Toastmaster friends who was supposed to be at the meeting, but he said he just got out of another meeting before our meeting started, and he's been in 3 meetings every day. So I think that that's where this is all happening right now, but it's just something that this is a new way of us doing business,
Yeah.
a different way of doing things. And it's just one of those things that we'll just think about as we move forward that, hey, this is going to happen for a while. We don't know when it's going to be over.
I have everybody's emails. We're just about out of time. I want to make sure you get to your next classes, okay? But go ahead, Melissa.
Well, no, I can't find my link to the next class.
Oh,
Okay, let me get it.
I'm looking.
Did you look on the website?
I am, but obviously I'm not looking in the right spot.
Okay, I'm gonna have to open it up.
Sorry.
That's all right.
okay.
Thank you, Violetta. It was
You're
fabulous.
welcome. I hope you enjoyed.
It was great.
It was great.
I want you to teach it at TMD. I mean at TNT.
You tell me. I am game, except this Sunday because we have training this Sunday.
No, it's only the first Sunday of every month.
Well,
But
check
they-
the agenda. If there's space, I'm good.
Oh, Kathy, I found it. I didn't realize he put it in the attachment on the email. Okay. I'm
Oh,
good.
but does everybody know how to get to their next class? Does anybody need the link?
The link is on the agenda, isn't it?
Can you send me
Okay.
the
Yeah.
link?
I
In the
am
chat?
I'm opening the agenda right now. Where do you need to go, Lamont?
I haven't selected yet, to be honest. I'm just gonna choose a random one.
So your choices for elective are, let's see.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Creative thinking workshop, developing a PR calendar, that's a beginner class, and having fun with pathways. It's about pathways projects.
Take care, stay safe.
You too.
You know what the creative thinking is about?
Yeah, because I did that for my DTM project. Cynthia Bailey's doing it. It's
Ooh.
literally about thinking, about creative thinking.
Cynthia's good.
Cynthia's really good. I'm just giving you that link, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, you go there and have fun.
Okay.
Hang on. Let me get the chat. Tom, are you gonna go anyplace else, or are you hanging out
I'm
with
going
us?
to- I'm gonna go to creative thinking.
Okay.
Well, then I'm gonna put this in the everybody chat then.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, can I go to that one even though I didn't register?
Sure, they'll let you in.
Okay,
Was that
thank
Aggie? You were so
Yes, it's
good,
Aggie, sorry.
girl. You need to do a drama class for us.
Yes, you were really, really good.
Acting class.
Maybe that'll be my next project. You never know.
Enjoy,
This was a great
guys.
exercise.
Happy
Yeah.
learning.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So, you got it, Tom? Send more
Yeah.
people from New York City. We need to come talk to your
Well-
club and get them excited.
It was a great presentation, Violetta.
Oh,
And
thank
good
you.
luck.
She's awesome. I told you she was.
I'll send you the slides, Kathy, so you can
Okay.
have them. And
Okay.
you can customize your scenarios
I'm
if you
gonna
need to.
stop the recording. Oh, I gotta do it on the other one. Oopsie.